Do you see those yachts in the harbor as a status of success? Many think that getting on one requires some incredible training or a stroke of luck, and that wealth is the mathematical equation: income minus expenses equals wealth. Let me tell you a secret: math has nothing to do with it, and luck only goes so far. The difference between the one who owns the yacht and the one watching it from the dock isn't the wallet, it's the software. The truth is, your brain is lying to you. Every single morning, your biology wakes up with one goal: to keep you safe and keep you poor. Here in Monaco, wealth surrounds you, but there is an invisible wall that keeps most people out. It's not a wall of money, it's a wall of mental bugs. While you look at luxury and think, lucky them, your primordial instinct is actively preventing you from understanding how to get there. Don't believe me? I'm Federica, and today I'll show you how to reset the software that condemns you to stay and watch while the life you want speeds past in a Ferrari. Welcome to Effe. Today we're not wasting time with percentage returns. We're talking about self-defense. As many say here, making money is a skill, but not letting your instinct sabotage you is a true art. We often believe we are rational, but we are driven by an autopilot that's running on an error, leaving you to stew in your own juices. Scientists call them cognitive biases. I call them fossils, true evolutionary traps that persuade you to settle for a fixed job at €1,000. Mind you, if you feel fulfilled by the work you love, you've hit the jackpot. I don't need to convince everyone at all costs. But if this situation feels too tight, perhaps it's time to start the gears of change. Today, I've chosen 3 evolutionary traps for you, the ones that grip you most, whether consciously or not: time, home, and savings. And if you feel uncomfortable while I speak, good. It means we're touching a raw nerve. It's the first step to waking up and learning how to build. Sometimes a harsh truth helps shake things up to move forward. Let's start right away. What you don't know is that you have a 200,000 years old hardware in your head that thinks it's still in the savannah hunting prey. That piece of gray matter is programmed to make you survive today, not to make you live in wealth 20 years from now. In nature, tomorrow was a concept for optimists who got eaten. There was only now. This is why your reptilian brain screams every time it sees immediate gratification. It wants calorie, it wants dopamine, it wants it everything right now. Investing in ETFs or building a long-term business is, for your animal side, nonsensical biological madness. But here's the cold truth: following your instinct is the fastest route to poverty. Your biology begs you not to take risk, to stay safe, to remain mediocre. If you let your brain do its job without interfering, you'll end up exactly where the masses do, picking up everyone else's crumbs. Today, wealth is not a matter of lack of opportunity, but the victory of your primitive side over the one trying to evolve. It's a bit like the Pokemon world. Inside you, you have the potential of Charizard, capable of dominating the field, but your biology behaves like an invisible Everstone. It keeps you stuck at the base stage, an eternal Charmander afraid of getting burned by its own fire. Staying stagnant is a choice, even if you don't realize it. And becoming rich is not just a technical skill. It is an act of clear rebellion against your own nature. It is deciding to force that evolution, even if it's scary, against your instinct screaming at you to stay small and safe. Let's take a concrete example. You leave 8 hours of work, you're tired, frustrated, you open Amazon or walk into a shop and buy that object or clothing you don't really need, but you desire. Your brain whispers, "Come on, you earned it. You worked hard. Add at least one joy to this day." In that moment, you've just given it. You're using money as a painkiller. Your brain is bartering your financial freedom for tomorrow for a few minutes of chemical euphoria today. While you think you're giving yourself a gift, your biology is putting chains on your feet. In practice, it is literally begging you to spend what you have to season your bland present. I call it the weakness tax. Every time you buy something to relieve stress, you're bartering your future freedom for a dopamine spike. You're literally selling your future Monday mornings to your employer in exchange for something that in 6 months, if it hasn't already been forgotten, will be old. In Monaco, the truly wealthy don't look at the price, they look at the opportunity cost. If you spend, for example, 5,000 euros on a bag today, you aren't just losing 5,000 euros. You're burning the capital that, thanks to compound interest, would have bought you years of free life in the future. So stop thinking that money is for buying things. The winner of the game is the one who understands that money is for buying time, the only resource you cannot refill. If you don't understand this, you'll keep running like a madman to pay off the debts of a life that might not even belong to you. Let's be clear. The point isn't to live in constant deprivation. The point is to stop being a slave to impulse. First you buy your assets, first you pay your freedom, and then you enjoy the rest without guilt. Now, let's move to the second short circuit. Many people wonder why, despite years of sacrifice and hard work, their financial situation remains stuck at the starting point. The answer often lies not in how much you earn, but in the mental bugs that govern your decisions and push you to seek refuge in old dogmas long since outdated. In Italy, as in many countries, we have turned bricks into a religion. Many bet everything in home ownership as the only asset that will bring well-being, discarding financial markets because they call them gambling. However, I must clarify, we must stop confusing a durable good with an investment. The problem is that, due to lack of knowledge, ancestral fear, or laziness, many buy real estate by spending all of their savings and usually going into debt, because at least the walls are there. And this often happens because seeing the chart drop by 5% makes you lose sleep. But seeing a house grow old, requiring taxes, maintenance, and perhaps losing real value compared to inflation or to the real estate market, wake up! That isn't security. It's cement fetishism. It's emotional comfort. It's the choice of certain but slow poverty, just to avoid facing market waves. Volatility isn't the monster under the bed, it's the ticket price for growth. If you don't have the stomach to see your assets fluctuate, you're condemned to stay still, or worse, slow retreat. Here in Monaco, we see investment as a vehicle that creates wealth. We prefer an asset that works for us, not the one that we have to work for. And this creates the perfect transition to the third and final bug, believing that not taking risks is the prudent choice. We've been educated with the idea that static savings is the virtue of the wise. But in the current economic system, this is the fastest road to decline. Let me give you a concrete example. Keeping your capital sitting in a current account because the market is too volatile, it's a lethal logical paradox. It's exactly like deciding to stay locked inside a burning house just because it's raining outside. Sure, if you go out, you might get wet, but inside, the end is certain. You will suffocate. If you choose stagnation, you aren't protecting your future, you're just accepting a slower and silent financial decline. And why? Because inflation isn't an abstract concept from economic books. It's an invisible forced withdrawal that erodes the purchasing power of your sweat every day. If you stay still while the world runs, you aren't motionless, you are retreating. In Monaco and generally in circles of conscious eye finance, you stop chasing security meant as stagnation. Security is an illusion for amateurs. Instead, we aim for antifragility. And what does that mean concretely? It means stop betting on a single scenario. We aren't interested in predicting the future. We are interested in being ready for any future. It means stop building a raft hoping everything goes well, but designing a ship capable of withstanding the storm. In short, it means strategic diversification. Zero risk is a fairy tale for those who don't want to look reality in the face, because risk always exists. What you call security is often just a risk you are too lazy or too uninformed to see. The question isn't whether you want to take a risk, but which risk you prefer to manage, the risk of growth or the risk of inevitable erosion. Today, the lesson is perhaps hard, but necessary. Wealth is not a number. It's control over your own mental software. Reprogramming yourself is exhausting. It goes against every instinct. But the alternative is remaining a hamster on a wheel. You run hard, you sweat a lot, but the landscape never changes. If you're ready to stop sabotaging yourself and want to understand how to practically apply this principle of behavioral finance, write to me in the comments. I'll show you how I'm rewiring my own software. The game is mental before financial. Make sure you aren't the pawn. I'm Federica, this is Effe Lounge, and if this video served as a wake-up call, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you very soon for our next video. Bye!